that when Y is at the end of a one-syllable word, a short word, so when Y is the only vowel, remember it's a vowel if it's not the first letter, and it's at the end, and the word is short, then that Y says I. Let me put a whole bunch of examples in the chat. Buy, try, fly, shy, my, cry, slide. How about that? Buy, try, fly, shy, my, cry, slide. Do you see how those are all short words? Y is the only vowel, because Y is a vowel if it's not the first letter, and it's at the very end. So when you're spelling, if you hear I at the end, don't put a Y. We're not allowed to put I's at the end of English words. Only high is allowed. Watch this. High is the only word that's allowed in English that we spell with an I at the end. And that's just because it's short for hello. But if you hear I at the end of any other word, spell it with a Y. You ready to try it? If you hear Y at the end, spell it. Oh, thank you, Nimanshi. If you hear Y at the end, spell it with a Y. If you hear I, spell Y. If you hear I, spell it with a Y. If you hear an I, spell it with a Y. If it's at the end of a short word. All right. So let's practice. And I'm going to bring in some other words that we've been learning this month as well, some other spelling patterns, because these are going to be kind of easy because they're short, right? They're super short. So we're going to throw in some other ones also, but let's practice our new skill first. So the word that we're going to spell together is fi. We have f, I. Only two sounds. This is the vowel. Consonants are f. That's it. And then for our vowel sound, if you hear I, spell it with a Y. So that's how you spell fi. Now, your word without me, probably a little on the easier side for you to get started here, is zai. Zai. Z, I. Put it in the chat when you've spelled it. Good. Yeah, that's a little easy, but that's good. We like easy patterns. They're now in your brain forever. Now you know. Now because you came today, because you were so good, and some of you came at night, some of you came first thing in the morning if you're on the other side of the world. Because you came today, now your brain knows for the rest of your life that when you hear I at the end of a word, spell it with a Y. That is now in your knowledge bank to keep forever. So good job for coming today. Yes, Zai is spelled like that. Good job. Okay, now where I'm about to give you my favorite word to spell in all of words. In the whole history of words, in the whole universe of words. And I love words. I'm going to give you my very favorite, my number one favorite word to spell. You ready? And I think I'm going to let you try it on your own without me because it's fun. That's why it's my favorite, because it's fun. Your word is yai. Yai. Y. I. Go for it. Good job, Bethany. It's my favorite word because it's so fun to spell. You'll see. Yai. So the first sound is y, y, y. Like yellow or yes. And remember, we're not allowed to, there you go, Lincoln. Remember, we're not allowed to end words in I. If you hear I, spell it with a Y. Are you guys thinking, wait a minute, is that really spelled like I think it is? Yeah, it is. That's why it's my favorite. So what is that initial y sound? What spells that y like? Yes or yellow Y spells that sound, right? Okay. Now, if you hear I at the end, you spell it with a what? With a Y. Now, look how fun that word is. That's how you spell it. And it says yai, yai. Isn't that the funnest thing you've heard all day? Yeah. So this Y is a consonant. This Y is a vowel. Consonant Y says yeah or y. And when Y is at the end of a short word, it sounds like a long I, like buy, try, shy, cry. So this is y, this says I, this says yai. Wow, was that fun or what? All right, let's try another one. I want you to spell without me, sply, sply. Make sure you have the same amount of lines as me. Sply. And then put it in the chat when you're done. Sply. Good. Sply. There you go. Yeah. Sply. Okay. So our consonants are s, p, l. And our vowel sound is I. And our spelling hack for the day, or our spelling pattern for the day, is if you hear I, spell it with a Y. If it's at the very end of a short word. If you hear I, spell it with a Y. So there is sply. Okay, so I promised you that I was going to bring back a little bit of what we learned last time about short words that end with a T. I'm not going to give you another hint other than that, but we are going to do this first one together. So we have shite, sh, I, t, shite. Consonants are sh, I, t. Now for the I sound in a short word that ends with a T, do you remember? It's an I-G-H. For short words that end with a T, the I sound is spelled I-G-H. Shite, shite, just like that. And if there were no H at the beginning, it would be sight, right? And if you change that to an SH right there, now it's shite, just like that. All right, your word without me is prite, prite. P-R-I-T, prite. Prite. Good job. Prite. Now here is a big hint right here for how to spell that I sound in the middle when it ends with a T. Like light, might, fight. How am I spelling that I sound in the middle when it ends with a T? Here's a big juicy hint right here and right here. If you want to change your answer, you can. Yeah. So our consonants are p, r, I, t. Yeah. And then when you have a short word and you're spelling the I sound in a short word that ends with a T, that I is spelled I-G-H. There's prite. You guys are so good at this. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are so good at this. All right, now we're going to go back to this pattern. Okay, when you hear I, spell it with a Y. When you hear I, spell it with a Y. Yeah, when you hear I, spell it with a Y. Your word is chai, chai, ch, I. I. Try this one without me. Chai. Good. Yeah, put it in the chat when you're done. There we go. See, you're getting it. You're getting it. You might not have known how to spell that if you hadn't have come to this class. And now you do. And since these are nonsense words, you're not learning how to spell a word. You're learning how to spell so that you can spell any word. You've never spelled chai before in your life. You've never spelled that word before. But I didn't have to tell you how to spell it. You just knew because you knew the spelling pattern. You knew how spelling worked. So you were able to spell a word correctly without having to study it beforehand, without having to memorize it. You just knew how. That's what we're doing. So yes, ch is spelled with that CH for your consonant sound. And then when you hear I, spell it with a Y. There's chai. Good job. You must feel very good about all that you're learning. Okay, now we're going to back up a little bit to what we learned at the very beginning of I month, about when I is, when you hear, let me just give you the word, because we're going to do this one together anyway, then I'll explain it. Our word is itish, itish, I, t, I, sh. Now we're going to leave those vowels to the end, right? Consonants. I, t, I, sh. Now we can do the vowels. We always start with a regular I first. Can this I say I in this spot? Yes, it can, because when a vowel has another vowel 1 or 2 doors away, then it says its name. So that can say I. Now I want this sound to say I. We always start with an I. It's the most common spelling. Can this I say I here? Well, is there a vowel 1 or 2 doors away? No. So it can say I perfectly fine right here. It's nice and happy. That's why that I says I, because there's a vowel right there or right there. And that I does not say I, because there's not a vowel right there or right there, okay? Your word is IPIM, IPIM, I, P, I, Take your time, put it in the chat when you're ready. Evan, there are a couple exceptions like bite and kite. This is a most of the time rule. Such a good question. Oh, really? I didn't know that, Connor. I should have known that chai is a type of tea. So your word is IPIM, IPIM. IPIM. Good. Yeah, you're getting it. Now, you've never spelled IPIM before. I'm pretty sure that nothing is named IPIM. But look at you. You know how to spell it. You don't have to wonder, are there 2 P's in it? Well, let's find out. So we have I, P, I, Those are our consonants, vowels. I. Can that I say I there? Yes, because there's a vowel 1 or 2 doors away. So it says its name. I. Can this I say I here? Yes, because there's not a vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. That is IPIM. Now, just for fun, what if I wanted this word to say IPIM? IPIM. Well, this has to say I, and in order for I to say I, it has to have 2 consonants after it. If there's not 2, make 2. Now it can say IPIM. So now you know if there needs to be 1 consonant or 2 consonants. It's all dependent on what sound you want right here. Let's practice that. I want your word to be spiffit. Spiffit. Sp, I, f, it. Spiffit. Spiffit. IGH is only if it's the second to the last sound, and the last sound is a T. Spiffit. Good job. Yeah, put your answer in the chat when you're ready. Spiffit. You've never spelled spiffit before, but look at you know how to do it. You're getting it. You are getting it. I'm gonna wait for a couple more seconds for other people to put theirs in. Okay, there we go. Spiffit. All right, now if you are one letter off, I bet you're gonna figure it out before I even finish mine here. So we have consonants. S, p, I, f, I, t. I want this to say I. What does it say right now? Oh, there's a vowel one or two doors down, which makes him say its name. And that would say I. I don't want it to say I want it to say I. I is a short vowel sound. Short vowel sounds require two consonants after them. If there's not two, make two. Now it's nice and happy in that spot, and it can say I. And this one can also say I because there's not a vowel in the next one or two spots. There's spiffit. Last one. See if we can do this one super quick. Thimit. Thimit. And I want, it's kind of hard to hear in the mic, so I'm going to give you that first sound. I, I, t. Thimit. Thimit. And then I'm going to give you this one too, because I don't want you to guess if it's an M or an N on how well your mic is. Thimit. So there's only a couple sounds left. Now you have to figure out how many M's are there. Thimit. There you go, Tiffany. Well done. There you go, Connor. Okay, so we have th, I, t. For the I sound, I want this to say I. It can't in this spot. It has to say I right now because there's a vowel in the next one or two spots. I don't want it to say I want it to say I. I needs what? Two consonants after it. If there's not two, make two. Now it can say I. Now it's nice and happy in that spot. And then this can say I just fine there. There's thimit. Good job. Very good. Oh my goodness, you are learning so quickly. And because you came today, you now know that when you hear when you hear I at the end of a short word, spell it with a Y. So in the real world, when you're spelling real words, if you hear I, spell it Y. Okay? That knowledge is yours to keep now forever. Congratulations. All right, my friends, I'll see you Wednesday. Bye, everybody.